Hi again, Pastor Jeff here. We're in 1 Samuel chapter 17 this week. The story, a very famous and well-known story, the story of David and Goliath. We began yesterday by just introducing us to the fact that as Christians, we are in a battle. And the Philistines, the world, the enemy, Satan, whether it be the Philistines, whether it be Egypt, whether it be Babylon, the Philistines, Egypt, the world wants us to get down and kind of give up and serve them. The Philistines came and they brought their armies, then they lined up on a hill against Israel. In life, we'll have opposition. We'll have spiritual opposition. We need to realize this. We need to put on our armor, Ephesians 6. We need to be aware. We need to be practicing good discipleship and discipline as we go through our each and every day. Being people of praise, being people of prayer, being people of power by having our swords at the ready, being right there to engage. And so let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 17. Now the Philistines gathered their armies together to battle and were gathered at Succoth, which belongs to Judah. Judah, that place of praise. Again, praise is a great weapon against the world, a great weapon against the enemy, a great weapon when we're in these battles. That we would look how many times in the Old Testament that the musicians and the worship leaders, you might say, began to praise and even go to the very front of, you might say, the army, or go to the very front of the battle lines. And as they began to worship and praise, how God would give the Israelites victory after victory. Am I a person of praise today? As I'm going through my day, I find myself, and I'm sure you do too if we're honest, especially with the things going on in our country and in our world. The violence, the disruption, the virus, and all that's entails, the politicization, the political climate, just how everything has become so political, and really just the unrest that we're seeing and experiencing in our country. And as we go through these things, I think it's very easy to kind of get down and to get a little depressed. For some of you've not been able to be out. You've not hardly been out of your little living space. How easy it would be for you to get down. The isolation, not having your friends and your family be around you. And so a great weapon to depression, and a great weapon to that feeling of aloneness and isolation, is praise. That we would be people of praise. And so we're going to see that David is a young man who really has, wow, why would he experience a victory? Well, I think we'll see some unique things in David that can be an encouragement to us. And so the Philistines are encamped against the Israelites. And Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together, and they encamped in the valley of Elah and drew up in the battle array against the Philistines. Now the Philistines stood on a mountain on one side, And Israel stood on a mountain on the other side so they could see each other, opposite each other, with a valley between them. Now, this is what really became disconcerting to the Israelites. And a champion went out from the camp of the Philistines named Goliath. We know the story. This guy was a warrior. This guy was like a monster. This guy was just a guy that you did not want to get into a battle with or a scrape with. He was from Gath. His height was 6 cubits in a span. He's close to between 9 and 11 feet tall. Can you imagine that? I've seen one individual that was almost 9 feet tall. And wow, I mean, it's just an amazing thing to see that. This guy was, again, what a warrior. Kind of one-man wrecking crew, right? He had a bronze helmet on his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail. And the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of bronze. That thing weighed almost 200 pounds. Just his armor weighed almost 200 pounds. He had bronze armor on his legs and a bronze javelin between his shoulders. Now the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam. And his front spearhead weighed 600 shekels, and a shield bearer went before him. The spearhead itself weighed 25 pounds. Can you imagine throwing 25 pounds? I know I've thrown, I think the biggest shot put, I could be wrong, is 16 pounds. Can you imagine, 25 pounds, almost double, not quite, but wow, that's a lot of weight. That'd be hard for me nowadays to lift and, to throw. Man, with my elbow and wrist and thumb and joints, no way. I could maybe pick it up and drop it. Can you imagine being able to throw that like a spear? This guy was massive. And so every day we're going to read for 40 days. This guy comes out and taunts the Israelites. We go through times like that, don't we? We go through times and something's taunting us. It's a situation or a circumstance that just is unpleasant, and a lot of times these things just don't come and go, but for an extended period of time. And in doing that, can you imagine? We're going to read the Israelites. Boy, they just became disenchanted with this whole thing. They kind of emotionally, they were kind of defeated. They did not feel that they had any stake, any reasonable way of being victorious in this battle at all. And I think, again, time after time, as we go through even what we're going through, isn't there times even now that one thing leads to another, to another, to another? It's every day. It's like, wow, I don't know if I can take any more of this. And you just become weighted down. Where that the enemy, just like we read about Goliath, he's really weighted down, but it's strength to him. And it's like he's bringing that weight to bear on you and I. And again, the tendency is to become defeated and to give up. And what we're going to see is we don't have to give up. And so, verse 8, he stood and cried out to the armies of Israel and said to them, "Why have you come out to line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine, and you the servants of Saul? Choose a man for yourselves. Let him come down to me. If he's able to fight with me and kill me, then we will be your servants." And this is always the goal of the world. The enemy, right? Right here. "But if I prevail against him and kill him, then you will be our servants and serve us." Babylon wants us to serve Babylon. The world wants us to serve the world. And boy, it takes a real person of faith to stand up against that. And you know what? It's a lifetime battle. It really never ends. You know, this went on for 40 days and 40 nights. And even though there's a beginning there and an end, I think the connotation is that this was an extended period of time that this giant came out and taunted the Israelites. Don't be discouraged today. Don't allow the enemy, don't allow, again, the things of the world to push you down and defeat you. Stand up, look up, and choose to be a person of praise, a person of prayer, and a person of power as you take the sword of the Spirit and wield it against the things that are coming against you. You know, when you take the word and you realize that it clearly defines the times that we live in, I'm telling you, it gives me, and it will give you such hope, such peace, and such joy. It'll really energize you. Man, I've got to do the gospel as I've never done it before. So praise the Lord. Look up today. Be encouraged. And God bless you. We love you.